Hey everybody, thanks for viewing. Welcome back to During Business Hours. We have Jeff Sandridge from Smartphone Medics on today. How you doing, Jeff?
Hey, Chris, how's it going? Thank you for having me today.
Doing great. Let's get it. You get a chance to check out the channel at all?
Yeah, I actually did. I'd actually watched a couple of your videos just recently. That's the first I've heard of you or your channel when you were talking about the whole block chip fiasco.
Oh, yeah. It's getting deeper and deeper. You know,
Oh, yeah.
block chip has come out more as the shining knight in the story, but
Okay.
Repair Desk trying to cut down on the posts and suppress people really didn't help the situation.
Right.
But it turns out EPX is doing this to a lot of companies. Like they have several lawsuits ongoing. And
Oh, wow.
thousands of people have been charged year on, year out. So they've taken millions from people, and nobody's, shouting from the rooftops. It's kind of nuts.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, we all thought it was a couple hundred people, and it turns out it's not just our industry. It's the retail industry, the restaurant industry, and a lot of the shopping malls and people who have, North Band Card processors that get hit with these fees. So it's not even just $295. Some people are getting charged $2,500, $3,000 per store.
Whoa.
It's getting bigger and bigger. It's crazy. So what state are you in? You said you were in the Central Time Zone?
Yeah, I'm in Alabama.
How's Alabama?
It's nice overall. The weather changes a lot, but I enjoy it for the most part because we're close to mountains, we're close to beaches, and where we live is near a pretty big city, so we kind of have the best of both worlds because we've got some country and some city. So
yeah, that's what everyone says about Northern California, but
oh yeah,
it's close to the beaches, close to the mountains, but it's turned into a whole separate issue nowadays. We have so many homeless and flagrant, violence in the streets nobody does anything about, so it's getting interesting. I'm personally moving out to Oklahoma in a couple of weeks, so
oh really?
I have to pack down the studio. It's not going to be fun.
Right.
Moving is never easy.
Fun.
Yeah.
So are you in Northern California?
Yeah, Sacramento.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ever been?
No, I haven't. I've always wanted to go, but
pretty stationary in Alabama, or have you traveled around a bit?
I've traveled a lot overall, but haven't made it out very far west. Haven't gone any farther than Texas, I guess. So
the hospitality out in Texas, Alabama, South Carolina, that is, I can't even explain it. It's a different world. Out here, people are like, don't touch my stuff, don't touch my sidewalk. Out there is, how you doing? What can I get you? Need some water? Like,
yeah, it is. It is
world.
really, really friendly, and that's one of the things that I like about it here. Because I have been to other places up north, even it's like that. New York and St. Louis and things like that. People are a lot less friendly. Like I'll like smile and wave at them when I'm walking by in the street, and they're like, "What are you doing?"
It gets New York is a bit rough.
Yeah.
It's, what is that saying they used to have? The "I love New York" for the people, and then people are like, "I hate New York." But all the people they're like, "What are you doing? What are you talking about?"
Right.
Gosh, some people there were. I went in 2012, did the sightseeing. Had a buddy who lived in Watertown, New York, upstate, and that was fun. Off-roading seemed like a different world for New York.
Yeah.
Mountainy, green, not a lot of people yelling or spitting on the sidewalks. So how long have you've lived in Alabama your whole life?
Yep.
Yeah. So when did you start your current company?
It was about 10 years ago now.
How'd you get into that? The repair side of things?
Yeah, I think it was around the time that the first iPhones came out, and I've always been into technology in general, taking things apart, putting them back together, computers, all of that. But when the first iPhones came out, I was like, it would be really cool to be able to learn how to fix these and know a little bit about it. I saw a class somewhere, and so I signed up to take the class that taught you how to repair like a iPhone 3 or something like that. And they didn't really teach me much, but they at least taught me how to get it open.
Yeah.
And from there, I kind of, figured out the rest of it and how to work on other devices. And then I realized that there was kind of a market for it because, people were breaking their devices, and back then hardly anywhere fixed them.
Exactly.
So,
They were so inexpensive at the time. It was so
yeah,
easy to replace. I think the old Nokias were like $80. And
right.
if you broke it, you just threw it away, got another one. It
Hmm.
wasn't like $80 wasn't a lot of money. It was just more convenient
Right.
until the glass screens and Gorilla Glass 3 came out.
Yeah.
This looks complicated.
Right.
So has it always been that store that you're in now?
Well, we've moved a few times and kind of I guess upgraded each time. And at one point in time, I actually had three locations. I had one in Madison, which is where my store is now. I had one in Huntsville, which is the bigger city in the state that I was talking about, and it was actually inside of NASA headquarters. There, we had a location, which was kind of cool. But it wasn't that great because we weren't allowed to do any advertising because it was NASA, and so it was hard to do a decent business there other than just the employees.
How do you land a store inside the NASA headquarters?
That's a good question, and it really just comes down to connections.
So connections is how you got the store in the NASA headquarters?
Yeah, basically, I knew someone that knew the manager up there, the head of operations, and they would rent out a few different little spots down in their kind of common areas, and they wanted to have different stores that people would use. So they had a little post office there, a restaurant, a coffee shop, gift shop, a few other things. And so when they heard that we did electronics repair, they're like, "Oh, that could be a good fit." So we put our store there, and it was cool. It was good to be able to tell people, "Hey, we have a store in NASA." Like, that sounded cool. But at the same time, we could only get the business of the people that broke their phones there or their devices, and so you couldn't really grow much. It was just you get what business you get, and so
That would be hard, yeah.
yeah, it was a little bit frustrating from that standpoint. So it was kind of like it was fairly profitable, but in the end, I was just like, I don't really feel like this is worth it overall. It'd be more productive to have another location, and that's why I went ahead and opened up a third location and in another city nearby. And so at that point, we had the three locations, but that's when I kind of decided I didn't really like owning multiple locations. I felt like it stretched me a little bit too thin trying to oversee everything, and it was hard to staff them with good employees and make sure that the quality and standard stayed up to the level that I wanted things to be, because that's something that's always been extremely important to me, is just the quality and our ratings and our reviews, how customers feel about us, and providing, the best service that we possibly can. That's why, now we're the top rated in the area, like all of Northern Alabama even. And it's because we put such a focus on that. But the only way we're able to do that is I was like, I'm going to simplify, but focus on one store and try and make that one store the biggest and the best that I possibly can create. So we, kind of pooled all the best employees back together. And then that's when I went from having, kind of like a mediocre location in Madison, and I put all the funding and everything into having a really nice store. So we got a standalone building that has like glass all the way around, and a nice lobby. We put a lot of money into renovations and building it out so that it almost looks like a mini Apple store or something like that.
When did you decide to do that? Like, what year was that?
That was probably about 6 years in, I would say 5 or 6 years in. Was when we kind of made the shift towards that, and we only got the new location about 3 years ago, though. That's when we really kind of shifted everything over, because I would say about 6 years in is when I had the three locations, and after that, that's when we decided to simplify. So yeah, we've only had this nice location 3 years now, and really been focusing more on the retail side of things ever since ever since that. A little bit before that, we started focusing on it, but we weren't doing, like very well until we moved to the new location, because I feel like a nice location just adds a lot of credibility to
trust,
your brand and your store. Yeah, trust. Like whenever we moved over there, we were automatically able to charge more for repairs and things like that. And people didn't ask questions like they did at the other store. Our old store, it was not the greatest of areas. We're in between like a tattoo parlor and a vape store, and we had like bars on the windows. And, all the time people would want to come in and haggle over prices or be like, why'd you charge so much on this? And it just doesn't add much to your credibility in general. But the minute we moved over, everything kind of changed for us. And, people just saw us in a different light, and it really helped, I think.
So that was before 2020, of course.
Yes.
You're saying 2019-ish. I'm in that same mode with my Carmichael location. I downsized from 3 stores. I had a partnership in a 4th, and now I've only got 1 store, focusing my time on that, trying to make it better. But I'm not of the mindset of like, you're going to make everyone happy. I'm more realistic in impressions and facts to the customers on the front end. Solve 99% of problems. So if you give that expectation to somebody, you can't go wrong. But that's where we get some feedback, because some people are like, oh no, I want this free or that free. And I think generally, it's the area we're in, because we're in, similar to what you were saying, tattoo parlor next door, vape store, bars on the windows. We get burglarized once a year.
Right.
It is not a great location. It used to be, our location got, I think, $25 million for renovations on our block. They called it the beautification project of Fair Oaks.
Oh, that's nice.
I've seen 1 new sidewalk.
Oh,
but that's their, money. But I was contemplating the same thing before COVID, of moving to a bigger, brighter location. And then COVID happened, and we just saw a doubling every quarter of revenue. It was like, okay, more people coming in, more people spending. And we thought everything was going to be shut down. How did COVID affect your new location? Was it similar in that, where it drove business, or did it hurt anything?
Yeah, well, it was kind of a roller coaster, because we had just moved in there, just kind of getting the feel of the new location and everything, and then COVID hit. And then in the beginning, that's when everybody was afraid, staying home, everything shut down. And we were like, how are we going to pay for this new location? We were already worried about paying for it before this, and now we have no customers. So we were kind of freaking out there for a little bit. And that's when, I was like, all right, what are we going to do? So I quickly got with Repair Desk and figured out how we could take online payments, and they created a system so that we could invoice people and take cards that way. So we started taking drop-off repairs at the store. Like I put a drop box outside, and I started advertising that we're doing like drive-through repairs. And so people would drop them in the box, we'd pick them up, repair them, charge them an invoice remotely, and then put it back in the box. They could come pick it up, things like that. But like I said, at that point, we were more than 50% retail device sales as well. And that kind of nosedived as well. So it was really difficult to figure out a new way of doing that whole thing, because we were doing leasing. That was the biggest way.
Yeah.
Biggest way to sell devices is through leasing at this point. If nobody's doing that, I definitely recommend that they get on it.
Oh yeah.
But it became a challenge. Like, well, how are we going to, sell devices to people without them being able to look at them or come in the store or sign their leases and things like that. So I got with some of the leasing companies we had at that point, and we started doing all that online. People would message us. We'd send them pictures of the device they were going to buy, get them approved, and then they would sign their leases online, and they just come to the store and we'd hand it to it, or we'd ship it to them, whatever. Yeah. So we started doing that, and then things started picking up. And then at that point, our biggest problem was getting employees to come back, because they'd been gone, and they were getting government money, half of them, and they didn't want to come back because they were making more from the
stimulus and everything.
Yeah, stimulus and stuff than we were paying them. So luckily, I had a couple of dedicated, really good employees who decided to come back and help out anyway. But that's when things started getting crazy. You said, they just started to pop off, and everybody wanted to buy electronics. And I
think we sold out of pop sockets we had from our 2017. I couldn't sell one of them.
Oh yeah.
We had sold 400 units of pop sockets just because there were so many kids that were around, and I couldn't stock them. I couldn't buy them at the time. China was closed. And so we sold every single one on this Tilta turning gondola we had.
Yeah, I got that.
And I was like, if I can sell this, there's nothing I'm going to stock here that won't sell out. And that was the kind of gist of 2020. People are going to buy everything you got just to buy it for the hopes of fun or some type of good feeling that it'll get from it. They just wanted to spend that government money. So you move that, you end up doing real well in the store. Was it 2020's Black Friday was your first blowout Black Friday, or you done that every year?
No. It took a while for us to be able to kind of master the whole Black Friday thing. We failed pretty hard several times before that. I would say it took us probably 5 years before we even started trying to do much for Black Friday. I mean, like we'd always do it like you can get $20 off a repair or $20 off a device or something like that. Yeah. And we get a few people coming in and, just because it is Black Friday, or just your average business on top of that. But we started trying to figure out, well, how can we actually, do a decent Black Friday or try and get a large crowd in here? And I was like, well, we're going to have better deals. We're going to have better advertisement, because we're competing with the big box stores. We're the biggest stores out there. You're trying to get people to come out of their lines, out of their stores, and come into your little store.
The reason I ask, I did not know about the smartphone medics personally. I seen you in the group. I saw your post last year, but the Black Friday apparently is you're setting a pace for everybody now. So like you're the Black Friday guy. I had seen last year your turnout. Your kids were out there making lemonade. Yeah, you had a coffee stand, muffins or something. Mm-hmm. And then this year, even though all the retail locations I know in many states were all bitching on WhatsApp about the turnout on Black Friday, it's disastrous. I personally, I probably lost 15 grand because advertising, all the ad spend went super high for the cost, and the turnout was low. And then the inventory now sits that I bought really good deals. I'll sell it over time, but that chunk is out of the accounts. And I'm like, here's where I'm at, down 15 grand. It'll take a time to recoup. Mm-hmm. You spending, what is it, 50, 100,000?
Right.
Killing it. So what is 2020's Black Friday versus this Black Friday? And is there any difference that you did?
Yeah. There's not a whole lot of difference in what I did versus 2020 and now, but I think that I've also kind of gotten to be known for the Black Fridays that we have at this point, because I've done them a few years now, and they've been pretty successful. But I did a few forms of advertising that I haven't done before, and some new kind of tips and tricks. And I've been kind of talking to people about that. I've been doing a lot of business coaching recently, and people that's been one of the hot topics people want to talk about is the Black Friday stuff. And I believe that there are certain ways and things that you can do to deal with it, and there's lots of things that I do that don't cost money. Now, I spend a lot of money on advertising as well. You have to if you want to have a good turnout, but some of the things that you can do that don't cost money are even more productive and can reach more people in a more meaningful way, I would say. And I would say that a lot of those ways are the people who actually showed up versus advertising. I know we got a decent amount from the advertising that we did, but some of the things that we did, for example, we always do a big giveaway around the week leading up to Black Friday. That we did a MacBook this year, and I do a live video when I talk about the giveaway, and I use that opportunity to talk about all the sales that we're going to have. And we always have amazing sales. If anybody's seen our deals, like I said before, you're competing with the biggest box stores out there, Amazon, online, whatever. So you'll see our ad and it'll be like free AirPods with $69 purchase, free iPad minis, free Chromebooks, free wireless chargers with any purchase. Yeah, exactly.
Even as a business owner, I know on the wholesale side, that is a money loser compared to the earners, right? So you're going to take a short-term loss on that compared to you may sell a Mac Mini, and make $2,000 on it. But there's always give and take.
Mm-hmm.
But where is that hump that says, oh man, I got to take this leap and give away $5,000 worth of inventory? How do you build that over time over the last couple of years? Where's that comfortability come from?
Right. Basically, the way that I've always looked at it is I put that into our advertising budget. Mm-hmm. So whatever devices I'm going to buy that are going to potentially lose money. And I have some tricks and things that we do so that they don't have to lose money. You can still make money even on those free items. For example, the $69 AirPods, with any $69 purchase, I pay around $69 for it because there are OEM Apple AirPods. Yeah. And so I pay around that much for them. If they just purchase that alone, then yeah, I'm going to lose money on it basically. But our goal is to get them in there and then upsell other things to them, whether we're selling them an AirPods case, whether we sell extended warranties on them. We're like, for $10 more, you can cover these for a year if anything happens to them. And not to mention the things that they're having to purchase to spend $69. We also do some tricks and things as far as that's concerned, so that it's hard for them to add up the things that they can purchase. It's hard for them to add up to exactly $69. For example, a case, an OtterBox and a tempered glass would normally be about $69 together. But on that day, we do $5 off the accessories. So that's not going to add up to $69. So they're going to have to purchase something else. And then the cheapest thing they're going to be able to purchase is probably going to be $20, $25, at that point.
It'll add up to 90. You'll still be up a little bit. And then I see the math there. Yeah.
Right.
Some similar what we do in our stores, because I think we did 50% off accessories. And we all know, and especially if any business owners are watching this, accessories are a gold mine. The markup on accessories are huge. Devices very small, but that's why most repair shops, and I tell people that I talk to, you need to sell accessories. A lot of people, for some reason, think that they can live off of repairs. Mm-hmm. It's not a forever thing. One day it'll just be, nope, we don't want to do it anymore. The government, somebody will be like, let it go to the manufacturer. They could do that. They could make laws. But you got to have something else in your stores, whether it's accessories or offering home security or whatever. There's got to be another revenue source. You had mentioned you do consulting or some form of coaching.
Yeah. I started it once. They'd asked me to come to the Gadget Repair Expo this year out in San Antonio to speak about the success of our store. A little bit about Black Friday, but primarily because we're $1 million business in one location. And so I put together a little speech about how to achieve that sort of success, and was talking about it. But after that, so many people reached out to me and are like, hey, I missed the speech. Could you tell me, or I want more information. When I did give the speech, I only had a 30-minute segment, and what I spoke on, people were so excited about it and things that they just kept asking questions, and we went an hour and a half past like when I was supposed to talk because people had so many questions or just kept going. And so I realized, a lot of people want this information and need this information, and I can actually help them by giving it. So I've started doing these one-on-one consultations with people. People can book with me if they want to, reach out or whatever. But so far, it's really been helping people. I've been coaching people on Black Friday recently, since that was coming up. A few of the stores that I did coach have had, I've gotten replies that they've had way better Black Fridays than they've ever done in the past. Even with the issues, because most of the problem isn't actually the stores. It's just a lot of shoppers right now are worried about, things going on everywhere. So a lot of people stayed in or wanted to go strictly online, because I know even Walmart and Best Buy had the worst Black Fridays, and they are where people literally kill each other. And that's a fact. Kill each other, running over stampedes to get to the things they want every year. And it's the first year where it doesn't look like anybody died in a stampede. Right.
So that's true. It's good and bad on the financial side. I'm more interested, like the Black Friday stuff is really cool, but how do you build the team that makes those upsells?
Yeah, I'm glad that you asked that, because that's something that's extremely important for Black Friday. but just the success of the business in general. It's so important to build a good team, and the way that I go about doing that, several steps, but choosing the right people from the start. And I've made the mistake in the past of hiring horrible employees, like that have stolen, who have tried to take over my entire business, who have teamed up with my landlord and gotten me kicked out of my location so that they could have their own business and take my customers. So I've learned the hard way. Yeah, yeah, that was rough. But so I'm very careful with who I hire. So a lot of people have heard that saying, like, hire slowly and fire quickly, but I really believe in that. I have a very elaborate list of interview questions and things like that we give to anybody that comes in, and I like to check. I look for certain things in certain people, and I like them to specialize in certain areas. A lot of stores, when they hire employees, they'll hire a technician and have them doing sales on the front desk and answering phones at the same time and things like that. And in my opinion, that doesn't work, or doesn't work very well. If you can only hire one employee, then sure, hire a technician and you handle the sales yourself or whatever you need to do. But the minute that you're able to hire more than one person, specialize and look for people that are good in certain areas. So, when I'm hiring somebody for sales position, I'm going to look for somebody who's, really good with people, somebody that I like when they come in, that we're communicating, where we're having good conversations. And, I just have a general positive feeling towards this person, because that's what they need to be able to do with the customers, is interact, form relationships, talk to them, have good conversations, so that when they suggest something to them, the people are going to be a lot more likely to be like, oh yeah, maybe I do need that, but if you have a technician that's trying to sell something, they don't have those skills. They're good at fixing devices. They're not good with people. So
very often I would say they're very off-putting with the directness they can have. I have one guy that's a prime example of this. He'll obviously talk people out of certain protections or upsales, insurance. Never.
Right.
It's one of those things, even though we sell it, it's an interesting one, but man, I would benefit personally from those questions. I'm horrible at hiring people. That's why I have people that typically do the interview. But my Eric, who co-hosts with me, he is our general manager and handles most of the hiring. Okay. And I have picked the worst people you could imagine. Always, yeah, great. Resume's fantastic. History looks like everything's good. Call their references. Everything checks out. And then 2 weeks in, it's like they went from a normal person to a crack addict.
Oh wow!
It's like, did they just now meet drugs, or did something happen, or was it just makeup and an act? I don't know. The world falls apart within that first 2 weeks. They show who they are. So it's been an interesting one here in California for sure. Yeah. But that's when I see somebody who's making crazy sales and doing absolutely phenomenal business. I don't see the one day action. That takes months in a team to build up. So there's got to be a lot of incentives for your guys, for people to do that. And then having your family involved, that's got to be one hell of a support system.
Right.
You have 2 kids, right?
Yep.
What's the ages?
6 and 8 at this point.
Oh, nice. I got a 2 and a 6-year-old. I got a daughter at 6 and a 2-year-old boy. He's a bit of a hellion. Oh. But, yeah, it's fun. I could foresee my kids doing something similar, being involved when they're older. But man, that it seems like a lot of work. What do you do personally once Black Friday's done? How do you what is your stress relief?
Oh, that's a good question, because it's interesting that you even picked up or realized how much work and effort it is, because the majority of people don't even see that side of it. And they just see my success when I post it or whatever. And they're like, oh man, Jeff's lucky, or he lives in a great place, or, whatever reasoning they want to use. But it's never, Jeff busted his ass for an entire month and put in 12 and 14-hour days and, had so much stress he could barely handle it for an entire month. And able to reach this goal and achieve this success. So That's really the reality of it, and I'm glad that you noticed that and appreciate that, because having some way to relax and recuperate afterwards is completely necessary. Because by the time Black Friday happens, I'm basically at the end of my rope.
Oh yeah.
um,
I can only imagine.
but we normally do is try and take a vacation as soon as possible, after it's done, because where I'm at, the employees can pretty much. I have an amazing team, like you pointed out already, but they can pretty much handle the day to day and make sure that the store is successful and does well. And I do offer a lot of incentives, and I try and really motivate all employees. I look at it as more like it's our store instead of it's my store and I'm telling you what to do. Like, we work together on everything. I take everybody's input, and we grow together in that, and I share our rewards with everybody through commissions, profit sharing, bonuses, lunches, whatever. Like, I try and give back as much as I possibly can, so that the employees are rewarded for the good work that they do and for upselling and things like that. And what I did this Black Friday is I realized in the past we've always done well, and the sales guys kill it and they make tons of commission, but then the people in the back who are processing devices or on the phones or us doing social media, repairing devices, they're not going to make all that commission in sales and tips and things like that. So I was like, that's not really fair to them, because they're putting in just as much work. They're just not on the front line selling the devices. So I offered to match all of their commission and all of their tips and then split it among the other employees this year. And they really enjoyed that. And I think that helped.
Generous. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So what else are you into right now with, so you've got your coaching program, right? Mm-hmm. Where do people find that at?
Well, right now you can just reach out to me directly, or you can go on my Calendly link and you can book an appointment.
We'll put that below.
Like I said, next week I'll be taking some vacation, actually getting my wisdom teeth out before I do that.
That's a vacation, and some business owners getting forced to be put on your ass.
So then I'm not going to be taking many calls during the middle of next week, but other than that, you can book an appointment whenever you want, and I can, I've been helping a lot of people, and it's been having good results so far. So I think that's definitely a benefit, because I think having a mentor or somebody who's done what you're wanting to do just simplifies the process and speeds it up so much. It took me a long time to realize that myself, because I would try and do everything myself and just learn the hard way over and over through the failures. And that's a good way to learn. Failures are good for that. But if you have somebody that you can go to who's already done it and knows how to do it, it just makes your life so much easier and better and helps you to reach your goals so much faster. And I just really recommend that. I've got a few people that I'm able to reach out to now and kind of get some feedback for myself and ideas, and it really helps. So
I always tell people it's always hardest for the first person who has to navigate the landmine, and then it's just following the leader after that. So whether you want to be first or last, you still got to go through.
Yeah, I've never heard it that way. I like that.
It's a lot easier if you know something's coming up, or if you're going through a hard time, to reach out to somebody and then get that little advice, left, right, which direction to go. And there's not a lot of people who have the balls to step up and say, hey, I need help with something.
That's
especially
true.
as men in this industry. It's like, oh no, you either succeed or you fail. It's not easy at all times. So
definitely. I'll completely attest to that. I've had so many failures, and so many times I've wanted to quit and give up and just felt like I've had all I could take. And, you have to persevere. You have to push on if you want to be successful. But yeah, if you have somebody that you can talk to, if you can reach out, like even me at this point, I'm seen as kind of like, one of the top in the field or whatever, but I still need help. I still reach out to people all the time and try and get ideas and bounce ideas off them and be like, hey, I'm having this. How did you get past this? Or how did you do that? And not even necessarily all people who are more successful than me. I feel like you can get information from anybody. Everybody has something that they do extremely well, or that, they have expertise in that you can learn from. So
stubbornness, it won't get you nowhere.
No, that's true.
We do this thing called collaboration over competition. I don't care if you're a block away. I'll send you customers, you send me customers. There's something I do better, something you do better. And a lot of people don't like that. We get a lot of hate for it
Oh,
locally
wow.
because we'll literally send somebody, and I will never talk bad about another company. Like, I'll call you personally before I like, oh yeah, don't go there or do this. Because even your top guy versus your new guy, somebody's going to make a mistake somewhere. So we're not all fantastic at all times.
Yeah.
It makes it real easy to know, like, a little personalization goes a long way. At least realizing they're all people too.
Sure.
Makes some people just hate it. I don't know why. They're like, oh, this is BS, or you're trying to do something, or make it seem like I don't think I'm here at all. I know I'm like middle of the group. I'm just consistent. I'd much rather be consistent and be the same person than like balls out, Rolexes, running 15 businesses, acting like I'm a shark.
Right.
It's easier that way.
Yeah,
Then people don't look to me for all the answers. So,
that's true.
so what's the goal with Smartphone Medics?
Yeah, that's interesting. I've got a few things kind of that I'm working on, and a few different directions that I'm wanting to go in with the store. But something that I've been working on for a couple of things that I've already been working on. One, obviously, there's always the option to grow out more, which is what most stores do. But I don't think that that's my business model, and it never has been. So I always try and think of like, well, how can we take it to the next level? How can we keep increasing and go up? So I feel like we've kind of tapped out a little bit as far as the amount of business we can do with one store in our current location. I mean, yeah, we'll keep growing small, increments along the way. But if we want to step it up any more than that, I feel like the only way to do it is either to offer new services that we currently aren't offering, new products. Obviously, we've started getting into building gaming PCs and more into the gaming console side of things, and doing more micro soldering jobs, console repairs, those sort of things that we haven't really focused on in the past. But I really feel like one of the things we need to focus on if we want to grow a lot is online sales in general. So that's something we've put a lot of time and money at this point into. We started redesigning our website and creating a new online store that actually will sync to our inventory in Repair Desk. We had an online store before, but it was always a headache because it wouldn't sync up. And if somebody bought something online, then we may sell it in the store and we wouldn't have
It
it.
just wouldn't add up. Yeah.
Right. So it was always a pain. So we've had Repair Desk design us a new website and store that will sync with Repair Desk, and I think that we're going to put a big push on that. We've got it now also set up so that you can apply for leasing through the website on those devices and get approved and complete the whole transaction online.
Nice.
And I think that can be a potential game changer once we put some good advertising and search engine optimization and things like that into that side of things. So I'm hoping we can grow the online sales, because I mean, obviously everything's going online. It's ridiculously hard to compete on a retail level anymore with Amazon, Best Buy, Apple, and I don't necessarily intend to compete with them on that level, but I think if we have discounted pre-owned devices on our website, we can advertise those things at a good price that we can bring business in, especially at the leasing prices and payment prices that can bring a decent amount of money in. So that's one of our main goals, is just online sales in general. Another one for me personally, though, is I'm always trying to create a better, well-oiled machine at the store so that I can kind of back out more and more and more and focus on higher level tasks and things that, coming up with new ideas and trying new things to kind of take us in different directions.
Less operator style. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. I've always, even from the very beginning, and this is something that I feel like separates me from so many stores out there. I just am a firm believer in, you can't work in your business and work on your business at the same time. I saw so many small business owners that is exactly what they do, is just work in their business all the time, trying to knock out all the repairs, trying to help all the customers, and they don't grow because you're not able to grow. You can grow, but it's going to be very slow, and you're going to be limited by what you can physically do.
I'm very aware.
Right.
That's one of my since I'm moving, I've tried to back off of, being an operator, and I see probably, I would say, I think the number was like somewhere when I'm not present, it's like 12 to 16% in efficiency, cost, value lose. Like I will make the store more money because I can wheel and deal better. I can give people better options. I know how to upsell a little bit better. And that's where over the last couple of months, I'm trying to train my guys and like, hey, no, you can offer this. You can do it this way. Getting people to think like you is the hardest thing. I cannot clone myself. So I'm going to be states away starting another store that's of a different type. Mm-hmm. But it's more like a hobby shop. My wife does body butters, shea butters, we make candles, the whole thing. And so all that fun stuff is a whole other niche in another state. But I'll still, I know, be taking calls, trying to get people to sell or do something or make something happen to try and improve their efficiency. But I'm hoping they get the point when I'm gone. It's real hard to push that.
Right.
It's insane.
Yeah, no, that's something that I've spent a whole lot of time on. It's just training and creating a good culture at the store, so that I can trust that they're doing a good job whenever I'm not there, that they're making it. So, but I noticed the same thing as you. Anytime, I used to be at the store, I would, exponentially make more sales or higher profits than if I weren't there. And I was always kind of torn about that because I was like, well, do I want to make more money or do I want to have more time to focus on things like bringing in more customers that could potentially make more money that way? Yeah. So, and I ended up just going in the other direction because I realized, even if I make more money when I'm there, I'm still limited by that still limits the total amount of money that I'm able to make because I'm still limited by what I can actually do at that point. Yeah. But if I'm able to back out and hire people to do this, train them as best as I possibly can. So even if we're making, 10% less, 15% less than if I were there, if I'm able to bring in, 10 or 15% more customers, then that's exponentially more than I would have made by just being there and putting in that extra work myself.
And then you get time with your family. That's my biggest thing is time with my kids right now because they're so young. I just want to be around at all times. It's so hard. Yeah. And the more you lose, because they're only 1 to 4 and impressionable like that once. So I'm like, man, I feel like I just need more time with them. It's hard.
It is.
But no, it's an interesting story from going pre-COVID to now. And the focus is on that store, especially how well and what everyone's saying in the groups that you're the go-to guy. It's nuts. But we'll put the links in the bottom. Share your story. This is interesting to me. And a lot of people on the Facebook side only see your name, your photo, and then they see the numbers that you post. They're like, oh, he must be fantastic. Must have been so easy.
Right.
It's and I've said this before somewhere, the luckier, the harder you work, the luckier you get. And most people see it as, no, shit just happens. They come out roses. God,
right.
Man, people just don't get it.
No,
it's a lot of elbow grease.
I would say that, like, I noticed that big time, even in the people that came to my store that were waiting in line, and it was a different crowd than it's been in the past. Like, I kind of make an event out of it. Like you kind of picked up on, we'll have food trucks. My daughter has a lemonade stand. We try and have fun. And I do like door prizes like every 10 minutes while people are waiting in line. So it keeps them interested. We'll hand out like free donuts or free coffee to them or something. Like I kind of look as the whole thing as more of like a customer appreciation day.
Like a carnival,
Right. I want them to have a good time. I want it to be fun for everybody, the community, our family, our employees, everyone. But this year, like, we were there, and I was, giving out things, trying to keep the mood up, playing music, and the people were just grumpy and ticked off and kind of acting like jerks. They just seemed ungrateful. I'm just like, you're standing in line to get free stuff. I'm giving you free stuff while you're in line. You're getting free food. You have the opportunity to get drinks and socialize with people, have fun, listen to music. Like, why are you not happy?
Yeah. How can I spark something?
Yeah. And that was honestly the main thing that made me say, I don't know if I'm gonna do this next year, because I'm just like, why am I, killing myself for a month to bring in these unhappy customers? We got a 1-star review that day, which really upset me. It was for
For
a woman
what?
that, yeah, a woman showed up at 11:30. We opened at 10. She didn't wait in the line. She showed up at 11:30, wanted the free iPad mini, and was pissed off because we were out of iPad minis at that time, the free iPad minis. I said, the employees told her, we're sorry, we have the free wireless chargers that are worth $50 if you'd like to, get one of those. She's like, no, I wanted the mini. How dare you? I just came up here and waited all morning, blah, blah, blah. And yeah,
What?
and so we had these like little arcade game systems. She took the two that she had in her hand and threw them at a $2,000 iMac that we had sitting in the lobby. Luckily, nothing broke. But at that point, and this is in front of a lobby full of customers, and she's just yelling and throwing merchandise. And the employees come and get me, and she's yelling at me, and she's just like, why don't you have this? And I'm just like, I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you. Like, you didn't wait in line. We're out of it. There's nothing I can do if you don't want the wireless charger. She's like, all right, you're getting a 1-star review. I'm out of here, and just yells at everybody on the way out.
So what's your current rating on Google and Yelp?
We have about it fluctuates between a 4.8 and 4.9, depending on the day. Now it's a 4.8 thanks to her. We.
I used to. I got to say this with like the nicest way possible. I absolutely don't care about reviews whatsoever.
Right.
Personally, I worked the first 4 years with a 5-star review.
Oh, nice.
It was perfect. If it was anything under 5 stars, I busted my back. I'd drive to their house 3 hours out of the way. I was so customer oriented.
Yeah.
And I was making personally maybe $2,000 a month, just busting my ass, trying to do ups and downs for everybody.
Right.
And I was like, man, that's a lot of work. And then had kids. And I was like, well, I can't do everything for my customers. Like my kids got that attention. And then I started to realize when I got my first 1-star, I'm like, nope, I'm good. I'm not busting my ass. Most of the ones we get now, if any, angry customer is somebody who it's a misunderstanding. We can clarify, fix the review. Great. But I'm never busting my ass the way I used to. That nearly killed me. And I was only under 30. I see a lot of guys who have like thousands of reviews, and I'm like, man, I'm good. I've been in business 9 years now. We got like 500 or 600 on 2 platforms, but I don't ask every single person because nobody is having the same happy day, the same way you're talking about. Some people are grumpy sometimes and they don't like breaking their stuff. I cannot solve all their problems. But if you can maintain 4.8, 4.9, you've been at this location since 2019. That's good.
Yeah, and it's been difficult. And I've done a lot of, like what you said, bending over backwards to try and fix the review. Every time any 1-star or anything, even 4-star below comes in, I'd be on the phone, I'm sorry, what can we do to help you? Doing whatever it takes. But yeah, recently I've gotten a lot more like you, and I'm just like, if somebody's going to be a jerk and leave a 1-star review just because they're having a bad day, I can't do anything about that.
I'll reach out months after. Somebody will be a 1-star in February, and then in March or April, you contact them. You're like, hey, is there anything we can do to change your review? That happens way better and more like understanding once things have cooled down.
That's true. Yeah.
On the internet, it's 1 or 2 days they're still angry. The keyboard anger and resentment is still there.
Right.
2 months later, they're like, lots changed in life. Let's go ahead and fix that.
Yeah.
So it makes it a little easier.
That's true.
But it's interesting because there's some people that like freak out and they're wanting to close their door when their 5-star turns to a 4-star or 4.9.
Right.
Some people put like 10 paragraphs up about how they've done everything. This person's just ungrateful. Everyone flagged this review. And I'm like, aren't you now using like a meme on Facebook to like get all your people to flag this review that's an honest one, even though it's not nice?
Right.
It's not really my style, but
yeah, me neither.
Whatever helps the image, I guess.
Yeah.
No, but it's been great, Jeff. I did not expect that you would be more human than some of the other people that I've interviewed, for sure. A lot of people are more robotic. I don't know why. Some
Yeah.
people are a little less friendly. In business 2 to 4, 4 to 6. Let's get everything on the books.
Yeah. I mean, I think the weird thing about me is that, like, I see a lot of people out there in the groups and stuff, and they are business obsessed, I would say, and that's what they live. And I mean, to a certain degree, that's kind of how I am, but it's not necessarily out of choice.
It's
That's
a
like,
tool.
right, exactly. Like I want to focus on my family and living a good lifestyle. Taking vacations and um, hopefully being able to relax some and things like that. But I also have this personality that, I guess kind of like a perfectionist type of, like, I want to succeed at whatever I
Yeah.
do. And that just kind of like drives me in the background. Like, I didn't intend on being $1 million store necessarily. Like, I never intended on being like the poster boy for, the repair industry or anything like that. Like, all of this just kind of just got thrown in my lap because I just wanted to do the best I could.
Yeah.
And I think when you do the best you can and you're consistent about it and over and again, that those types of things just kind of happen.
It just shines through, yeah.
Right. But yeah, I enjoy, people and having fun a lot more than just focusing on business all the time. So,
Well, I'll be, closer to Alabama, so one of these days I'll drive on through. I know we're heading to Florida, and I'll check you guys out.
awesome, man. That'll be fun.
It's been great. We should do this again, next year, probably post Black Friday. Let's see if you end up sticking to it and doing,
Yeah, we'll see.
Something else. But no, it's been great, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, well, I really appreciate it too. I think it's really cool what you're doing too. I didn't know that there was anybody in our industry that was like doing a YouTube channel or, things like that.
A lot of people do the repairs.
Right.
Like,
Yeah. I've seen that. Yeah.
This started as a way to like about the angry people that you see in the repair industry, because we get a lot in this area. I had a lady that tore down, displays off the wall because we wouldn't give her a free phone.
Wow.
Crazy stuff.
Yeah.
I think it was like $50 for a phone that was posted, and it was sold in the store. Posting wasn't down. We're like, sorry, we'll match it for something else. She was so angry. And I think originally we made a YouTube video like, crazy people are going to do crazy things. Here's what happened. And her mother and her sister all gave us 1-star reviews about how we tried to get her in store to sell her something else that she didn't want, and how we were trying to steal money from the average people. I'm like, oh man, it was a Facebook post. And so we made a YouTube video on that, and then I was like, we should make a podcast. We should talk about all the crazy stuff that happens. Our business advice, how we did what we did, life. And it just turned into, I was like, man, I wonder if these people online are the same as they are on their profiles. And so I started reaching out to people. I'm like, you are not as like stuck up. You are not as like cool. You are not as, robotic online. Some people just have, it's so weird how Facebook creates that like MetaMask idea where it's like you are a walking NFT if you don't know you are already. It's this image of everything you are, and everyone perceives it differently.
That's true.
It makes it real hard.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because I realized that was kind of happening with me a little bit, just because, you only post your successes and things like that. And I'm a photographer too. I have a photography business. And so for the most part, like, I'm good at presenting myself online in a positive light, because I take good pictures of things, of myself, of the business, and I post the successes. But then I realized, people are only seeing this one side of me. They're not seeing the hardships I'm going through. They're not seeing me being depressed or upset or, realizing that I, have to work and bust my ass as much or more than the average person and all this. And so recently I made a post, and it was like a good picture that I'd taken of myself. And I was like, hashtag blessed, best life ever. I was like, not really. This is what maybe you see this on Facebook, but that's not reality. And I kind of went into details and like talked about what was actually happening in my life. It's like, I'm more stressed than I've ever been. I have depression, like I fight through all this stuff that everybody else does, but all you guys are seeing is this top 1% and thinking, oh, Jeff just has the best life ever. He just has a successful store and takes tons of vacations and has a great family. And I'm like, that's not all there is to anybody.
I think it's like a version of people breaking the matrix, as like Andrew Tate says it. Everyone sees the guy, but the idea is we're seeing through a lot of the presented media on your socials, on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Everyone's so happy. This is what you want, the world, the mansion, the travel. And then the majority of people are now seeing like, oh shit, this is not what it's about. Right. And so we're getting more informed, and it's driving, like I'm going more family centered. I'm taking my family to the Midwest, and I'm like, all right, here we go.
Right.
And I want to be happier. I don't care if the store burns down, as long as it's making me some money in some way. Insurance will handle that. I'm a big proponent of insurance, by the way. But it is so insane, the stark difference from like 2018 me wanted 10 stores. I had 2 stores and I was like, I want 10. 2022 me wants 1 store, a couple online businesses, and everything to work itself out as long as my kids are healthy.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, 1 kid, I just need to drive. Then I had a second little hellion, and I'm like, nah, I just got to be present. Damn
right.
it. That's it. It's weird. It's crazy. Kids change you so much.
They do. Yeah, that is crazy. Because my story was very similar. The first one like really motivates you, like kick it. Because that's when I started the business. Is when I had the first kid, or right before I had it. When I found out it was on the way, I was like, I got to do something. Let's get this going.
Money needs to come. Yeah.
Right.
Diapers are expensive.
That's what drove most of my success. But then, after the second one, a few years passed, I'm like, I'm kind of missing stuff here because I'm so obsessed with work all the time. I don't want that life, So I'm trying to put things in place so I can back off more and more. And like you said, any kind of online business, things that don't take as much of my personal time, I think.
I can pour a candle a lot faster than I can fix your iPhone.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say.
Right.
Margins are better too. But it's crazy. No, that's what we're setting up in the state of Oklahoma. And then we're going to be doing a lot more traveling, because why not? If cost of living out there is exponentially cheaper. I think we pay $2,500 a month here for a 4-bedroom, 1 bath. And it's really 2 bedrooms, 1 bath that they split the rooms in and like put up false walls, because it makes it four tiny rooms. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's what they did like 20 years ago. And then they plastered and did everything. But so that $2,500 covers the entire business, commercial area, rent, insurance, and the house cost for Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Well, if we just downsize and move out, it'll cost $10,000 to move. That's not a big deal. We'll save that over in the entire year. We're saving for the cost of gas, electricity. I'm much happier.
Yeah. I've always thought that's crazy because I've got a few friends in California, and like I said, I'm a photographer. I do real estate photography primarily, and I'll post a picture of like $1 million house, and that's a lot here. And it's like a mansion basically. Yeah. And then they're like, we couldn't get an apartment for that much out here. Like, what do you do? Like, we need to move back. And I'm like, how does that? I don't understand how that works though. Do you guys make more money out there, or is just everything more expensive?
No, it's because I figured it out. The cost for somebody to drive all the material, the food, the gas, everything across the Great Plains to California. That's all it is. It's a tax on them driving all the shit out here and then growing it out here and doing all the stuff out here. But the lobbyists, the lawmakers are like, hey, we need to tax all those people. And so that cost rises our cost. And so even gas at $7 a gallon was only $1, or was it $2.10 in Oklahoma? And I'm like, how is it $2 one place and $7 here?
Yeah, that's crazy.
That doesn't make any sense.
Oh.
It should be, if we're buying it from somewhere else at $35 a barrel, then it should be equal everywhere, right?
Right.
Nope. If it's cheap in one place, why is it not cheap everywhere? It's just because we're presumed to be the fancy state, the rich state. And that's, even the damn homeless people get paid $1,200 for general assistance now.
Oh, wow.
In San Francisco. So if it was 2012 and I was, in my older state of mind, because 10 years ago I was just getting off drugs and I'd got a military whole thing. But fun times, I would have driven to and from San Francisco every morning to check in as a homeless person. Tell me $1,200 free a month. That is $40 a day.
Yeah.
Free money. Absolutely. Yeah. That's worth $10 in gas.
Yeah.
It's a quick come up, and then get food stamps and free phones now. So they're almost paid to be homeless.
Wow.
I feel sorry for the ones out of their control, but the ones who are doing it as a side hustle, the states cost a lot of money on.
Yeah.
So we appreciate you guys viewing, listening, subscribing. For all our listeners out there, drop a comment. All our YouTube people, comment, subscribe, share, and we'll see you next time.
Life can be super happy, life can be super sad. I'm trying super hard to separate the good and bad. I go back to my future just to get to my past, but knowing me, my DeLorean will probably